Welcome to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del challenges the status quo, questions everything, and empowers you to return to your core beliefs to make your life better. If you're ready to hear the truth and get your roadmap to the lifestyle you really want, the next hour will change your life. And now, your host, self-made millionaire, national award-winning investor of the year, CEO and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, Del Walmsley.
Welcome to the Del Walmsley Radio Show, where the hype ends and the help begins. I'm your host, Del Walmsley, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom. Today, though, we're working on your retirement. And it's interesting to me that people listen to people that have so little common sense, but they're so overly educated. Doctorals in finances, and still can't figure out how to retire people. It just boggles my mind. It really irritates me, to be quite honest with you, that these people can be considered experts. Well, somebody sent me an article a couple days ago, and he said, hey, here's more of the same old stuff, and maybe you're interested. And I read it, and I go, boy, this is not just the same old stuff. This is worse than the same old stuff. These are people claiming to be experts, claiming to have researched 292 retirement strategies to find the very best out there for society. I mean, that's quite a claim, right? Now, let's figure out who these cuckoo birds are, first of all, so that make sure they get credit for all this insanity. It says, when you're ready to retire, how can you be sure you'll have enough money to last? And what's the best way to withdraw your savings over the years? Steve Vernon, consulting research scholar at Stanford Center on longevity. He's a scholar at Stanford Center on longevity, set out to answer these questions by collaborating with Society of Actuarial Sciences on research project. How to pensionize any IRA or 401k. What are we wanting to do was identify a strategy that's fairly straightforward and can be used by CNBC listeners. The incorporated strategy that research people to withdraw their money safely in retirement, a strategy. It's a strategy to retire your money safely and decide if you got enough money to retire. So these guys are doctoral experts, social experts, financial experts, actuarial science experts. And the stuff I'm going to read you, I know you're not supposed to read stuff on the radio, but I don't have any audio clips of this stuff, and this is just too good to miss. If you're driving, I hope you don't drive off the road when I read this stuff to you, because it just boggles your mind how these people that are claiming to be so smart and to have researched 292 options to come up with this option that they say is the absolute best. When you hear this option, please don't drive off the road. Please, I beg you. Try to hold your laughter or your cynicism down to a calm enough level that you can stay on the road and get to work safely today. This just blows my mind. And I quote, the winning strategy produces more average total retirement income expected throughout the retirement compared to most solutions we analyzed, Vernon reports, and provides a lifetime income no matter how long the participant lives. Wow, that's a grand statement right there. There are two key components to the spend safely in retirement strategy. Number one, are you ready? Drum roll. Delay Social Security payments until age 70. For middle income people, Social Security is going to be the majority of their income in retirement. Let me restate that to you. Social Security is going to be the majority of their income in retirement, says Vernon, and it will be anywhere from 60 to 80% of their total income. That's their strategy. Social Security is their strategy. So the strategy is to don't take Social Security until you're 70, because if you wait until you're 70, right, then you will be able to withdraw a larger amount than you could withdraw if you started taking it at 65 or whatever, the 62. I don't know what the first possible age you could take it at. But one of the things that, about this strategy is just dumb as a rock is that, I'm 61 years old and I told myself I'd never live past 65. If I put off taking Social Security to 70, I've paid into Social Security for 70 years of my life, 61 already. And I may never see a dime of it. I may die before I ever recover even a dime of Social Security. So first off, that's just ludicrous, okay? Ludicrous. Secondly, who the heck wants to wait to age 70 to retire? Are you with me? And no way is Social Security going to be 60 to 80% of the average person's retirement unless you're just dumb as a rock or a sack of rocks. It just doesn't make any sense. You realize 4 rent houses will produce more income for you than your Social Security will. I paid in maximum Social Security my entire life. I think I can get $2,400 a month if I ever start to withdraw. Maybe if I wait to age 70, I might get $2,500 or $2,600, maybe even $28,000. But that's just dumb as a rock. Do you realize if we put you into some rent houses right now, $500 a month positive cash flow on each rent house, at 5 rent houses, you have as much as the average person will ever make, or better than the average person will make in Social Security. And you'll make it for the rest of your life. And you'll have capital gains. And you'll have tax-free income, which they go on to explain that Social Security isn't even 100% tax-free. Now, tell me that, right? I read on. And Social Security is nearly a perfect retirement income generator. It lasts the rest of your life. It protects against inflation. It doesn't go down in the stock market crashes, and it's paid automatically into your checking account. Part of it isn't subject to income taxes. Get that. Part of it isn't subject to income taxes. What you're saying, guys, listen to this. Please just remember how skewed the intelligence levels are out there. They expect us to pay into Social Security our entire life, and when we get it back out, we pay taxes on the money we put in. They're double taxing Social Security. Now, I have rental income, and I don't pay any taxes on it at all. Why would I want Social Security income to have to pay taxes on the money that was already taxed from me? You can see why I get upset about this. I mean, if you're an American and you not understand what they're doing, they're taking our money our entire lifetime, and then when they give it back to us, they're taxing it again. Oh, let's see here. If the stock market crashes, it's paid automatically into your checking account. It isn't subject to, not all of it's subject to income tax. No other retirement income generator has all these positive features. So maximize Social Security is the key part of our strategy. 292 strategies they looked at, and their key strategy is to put off claiming Social Security until you're 70 years old. The best way to do this is to delay receiving Social Security benefits until age 70, he says. Part of whatever this was is cut out because it was printed off a screen. To use this portion of retirement savings to substitute the Social Security. Okay, part of this was cut off, so I have to go by memory. So what they're saying then is, if you cannot wait, right? If you cannot wait until you're 65 to retire, until 70 to retire, what they want you to do is take what Social Security would have paid you, which is roughly $20,000 a year, so that is less than $2,000 a month. Take $20,000 a year out of your retirement account, your IRA, your 401k, or whatever, and live off of that for the next 5 years. In other words, the money you have in your retirement accounts are earning so little income, that you're better off just to live off of it and hope that you can live 5 years longer and start collecting Social Security at a higher rate. Now think about this, guys. You got to see how dumb this is. With $100,000, you could buy 5 rent houses. You could make $2,500 a month from day one. From day one. You could make what Social Security, or more than what Social Security is paying you. It's tax-free. It's every month. Whew. How can these people even be allowed to write these articles? They should go to jail. This is bad, bad material, guys. Real bad material. So they're telling you to take a $100,000 dump out of your savings account just to live off of, so you can make 5 more years before you start collecting Social Security. Wow. What a strategy. What a strategy. If you want to bring your comments to this conversation, because I've got to calm down. We got to go to break. I got to calm down. Our number here is 866-945-6565. When we come back, I'm going to show you the second half of this incredible strategy that was the best of 292 financial planner strategies out there. We'll be right back with the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
You're listening to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del will be right back with more life-changing principles in just a few minutes. Welcome back. Now here's some more unconventional wisdom to set you free from the man on a mission to retire America, one person at a time, Del Walmsley.
Welcome back to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Today I'm reading you an article that some people out of nowhere, let's see here, Stafford Group, Stafford Center on Longevity, a set of scholars and a set of actuarial experts looked at 292 different retirement plans from financial planners, and they came up with this one being the very best that there is. And the reality is it's just garbage. Their super secret is part one of the plan. I have to try to think this through because this is something I'm just going through. I can't even get it in my brain how crazy this is to put off retirement to age 70. Well, let's start with just that basic concept. I retired when I was 34 years old. I've never looked back. I've made more money every year, a little bit by little bit, then greater by greater, growing my income, my wealth, and my investments exponentially over the years. And I can't even imagine somebody considering working until they're 70 years of age. That in alone. I'm 61 right now, and every day I think to myself, man, I'm so happy that I got out at 34. I did the things I wanted to do in life. I got around, met the people I wanted to meet, took the travel I wanted to take, did the fitness things I wanted to do. I've had 2 knee surgeries, 2 shoulder surgeries, and 1 bicep dislocation surgery. I've had cancer, and I've had staph. I've tried to die and or rip this body apart, rip it apart piece by piece. And to think, the other day we went to see a site, I can't even remember what it was. We went up into the mountains on a tram. And when we got up there, we were climbing around on a bunch of rocks, and my knee gave out on me again. And I basically had to come down the side of a mountain with 1 leg and 2 arms, bouncing down on 1 leg, just very carefully, gingerly trying to slide my butt down some rocks and stuff. And what I'm thinking is, why would I want to start retiring at age 70? I can't even imagine waiting to 65. In fact, I'm hoping I make it to 65. Now, that's a very pessimistic outlook. But my pessimistic outlook was basically put together this way. If I believe I'm not going to live past 65, which very few men in my family has ever lived past 65, I think there's only 1 or 2 that ever did, and I get my life done by age 65, then everything else is gravy, right? Now, I'm not telling you to pick up that attitude. I have had people tell us that it's important to live life like there is no tomorrow. You know, live today like it's your last and get everything you can out of life. I've heard all that, and it's good positive stuff. But what I'm talking about is just common sense. Why would you go and speak to your family about retiring at age 70? If you're 25, I can retire you within 3 to 5 years. If you're 30, I can do that. If you're 35, we can do that. If you're 40 or 50, you can do it. You can do it within 3 to 5 years. Now, if you got some money in the bank, you can do it in 2 to 3 years. Right? So we're talking about a nonsensical concept of waiting till you're 70. And to do this to be able to earn more Social Security. And what they're explaining is the average Social Security is $20,000 a year. Like you can actually live on $1,800 a month or $2,000 a month. And that's 60 to 80% of your retirement income, they're saying. Now they're talking about the second half of the plan. And what they're wanting to do is set up an annuity. Now, they don't want you to go buy annuities, which pay out on a monthly basis for the rest of your life. No, they want you to take your 401k and your IRA and turn them into annuities. And they don't want you to start drawing down on these annuities until age 70. All right? Now, think about this carefully. They want you to maybe take $100,000 out to get from 65 to 70. Or the alternative answer to this said, go ahead and quit your job and get a second job, get a part-time job to just barely survive for 5 more years until Social Security kicks in. Then you get your full retirement. Here's another assumption. The assumption is once you retire, you never be able to do anything ever again. Now, that's a ludicrous concept. I'm not playing football, or I'm not a bodybuilder or a power lifter anymore, right? I'm not out there knocking down the world with real estate deals because I need to get out there and make my millions. I've already made my millions. But I'm still able to do radio shows. I'm still able to get up and give talks to people and help people grow and learn. There's something the wisdom and knowledge of older people can do with it, whether if it's just help people at a church or some other kind of charity place. But there's something you can do. Nobody's going to do nothing. And they're assuming what you're trying to get to is nothingville, right? Just again, the commonplace American assumptions about retirement are ludicrous. So what they're saying is they want you to take and wait till you're 70 years old. And because of the IRS rule that at 70 and one half, you have to start taking money out of your IRAs and 401ks on a schedule. And let's see if there's a name they give to this schedule. It's the RMD, right? Which is IRS concept of you have to take the money out at a required amount per year for the rest of your life. So what they're saying is you take your 401k and your IRA and you go to your administrator and say, look, I have to take out whatever it is, let's say $20,000 a year. If that. Whatever percentage it is you have to take out. I don't know what it is, and it doesn't actually even say in this article. So being that I'm not an IRA or 401k expert, I don't have that answer, but you can look it up, I'm sure. So the bottom line is, let's say you take out $20,000 a year. What they're saying is tell your IRA company or your 401k company to set it up as a monthly payment to you. So you're annuitizing. In other words, and their assumption is if you take it out at this very slow rate, which is the RMD rate, that is the minimum you can take out. And I think we're going to look that up at break just to find out what the RMD rate is. But if you take it out at this very, very slow rate, that your 401k and IRA should survive the rest of your life. So now you've got Social Security and this RMD rate added together. So you may have as much as $3,000 or $4,000 a month of income the rest of your life. And that's their plan. And that's the best out of 292 plans that they looked at. 292 plans. Smartest people in the world could only come up with Social Security and taking out the money you've already saved in your 401k and IRA at a very, very slow rate so it lasts for a long time. Is there anything different about any of that? I've heard all of that stuff before. It makes no sense when the first time I heard it. It makes no sense now. But what gets me is that these guys are allowed to claim that they are scholars and they're writing technically devised information to help you live a life of quiet desperation. And by the way, work till you're 70 years of age. Man. I just don't see how you guys can put up with that kind of information out there. If any of you feel any of this, give me a call, get on the website, email me, do something. we need to get you going the right direction. Our number here is 866-945-6565. If you want to call, we can work through the pain together. We'll be right back with the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
You're listening to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del will be right back with more life-changing principles in just a few minutes. Welcome back. Now here's some more unconventional wisdom to set you free from the man on a mission to retire America, one person at a time, Del Walmsley.
Welcome back to Del Walmsley Radio Show. I told you during the break that I would look up this IRS required minimum distribution. And there's actually, it's quite easy to follow a worksheet for it. What it basically says is when you first start up your automatic distribution plan, you have to get that money out of there within a certain number of years. So if you start at age 70, you've got to get the money out in 27.4 years. If you wait to age 80, you've got to get it out in 18 years. If you wait to age 90 to start withdrawing it, you've got to get it out in 11 years. If you actually live to age 100, you've got to get it out in 6 years. And I guess it comes down to the fact that 115 years old, you got to get it out in 1.9 years. So they don't figure anybody's living past 115 years. That's what it basically comes down to. Now, what is this really all about? This is not a suggested retirement plan. The IRS is basically saying we want our money back. And so we want you to start withdrawing this money so we can start taxing you on this money. And they'd rather tax you in larger chunks. But they will allow a minimum withdrawal, which allows for you to stay in the lowest tax brackets, what it basically comes down to. So I just took this and played with the numbers a little bit to share with you kind of what this means to you and compare it to somebody who was on the radio yesterday and what they were doing for their passive investors. So if you take $250,000, let's say that's your savings, your 401k savings, you got $250,000, and you put it into this RMD distribution chart, it means you have to take out $9,124 a year, which is $760 a month. Now, you realize $760 a month is only 2 rental properties. Your $250,000 is earning you less than what 2 rental properties could earn you. Now, think about that. You got $250,000, you could probably go and buy no less than 10 houses, which would earn you $5,000 a month, tax-free. But instead, you're going to earn $760 a month out of your 401k. Do these numbers even mean anything to you? Or are you just driving around oblivious to reality of life? Listen to that again. You can make $5,000 a month if you buy 10 houses with your $250,000. Or you can earn $760 a month on the RMD retirement automatic or mandatory reduction plan. That's the second part of this 2-pronged plan. One is don't start taking Social Security at age 70. Don't start taking the retirement money to age 70. At age 70, hook it up into this plan and take it out as slowly as you can so it will last for the rest of your life. Whew. So there's a lady on yesterday on the show, and she was talking about owning 3 apartment complexes that she was the lead investor in, and she was a passive investor in one. She said she received income, double-digit income the first year of her passive investment. She then went on to talk about her first deal she did as a lead investor, and she was paying her passives out on the first year a 16% cash-on-cash return. And I think she said over 2 years it was 26%, so an average of 13% a year on this deal. It might have been 13 the first year, more the second, whatever, but it was an average of 26% over 2 years, which is 13% a year, right? I took that and interpolated that into the $250,000, and that basically comes out $40,000 a year, or $3,300 a month, $33 a month at the 16% she paid out. Now, would you rather take your $250,000 and earn $760 a month on it? Or would you rather earn $3,300 a month? Now, that's as a passive investor. That's doing nothing. That is totally retired, passive, go fishing, whatever the heck you want to do. But she also mentioned that the capital gains improvement on that property had gone up 250% in value from their investment. In other words, their investment, which they put in, if it would have been $100,000, would now be worth 250% more than that, which would be $350,000. And I asked her specifically, are you talking about the 250 is above and beyond getting their money back? She said, yes, it is. The investment was still in the deal, and they've made $250,000. Now, there's nothing like that in this plan. There's nothing at all even close to this in this plan. So how do you pull this kind of stuff off? How do you become this company that has these experts write these articles and publish them that they researched 292? Hey, if this is the best plan, I want to know what plan you're on. You must be on one of the other 292 that aren't quite as great, huh? Wink, wink. What are these people living on, folks? This is just insane stuff. This is the kind of stuff that really irritates me. I'm sorry, because I'm thinking of the millions of seniors out there that have believed this garbage for 70 years of their life. And now they're stuck in these positions. If they would have come to me 27 and a half years ago, they would pretty likely be very financially successful right now. I don't want to put a number on it because I can't predict that kind of stuff, but I tell you, most of the people joined up here are doing very well, and they'll tell you they're doing very well. And you just got to listen to the show. Every week we have a Tell Dell. Every week we have mentors bringing in people that they've helped become financially successful. Every single week we're telling you story after story and image after image of how people have changed their lives. And what are you doing? You're listening to people like this rockhead person that calls himself an expert. I like the term. He's a scholar on financial retirement. A scholar. I bet he doesn't do any of this stuff. I bet he's got a better plan than this. He's probably got 20 rent houses. It's just writing this stuff because he gets paid as a scholar to write it. It's so unfair, isn't it? That the average person is subjected to very, very bad information, where just a very small percentage of us make the decision to go out and look for better information. It's like when I was a little fat kid, 4th grade, I was 200 pounds. I had Coke bottle glasses, flat top haircut because we were so poor. My dad would cut my hair with clippers, so he didn't have to send me to the barber. And my life was miserable. When I explained it to my parents, it was like, well, get over yourself, toughen up, be a man. They're just jealous of you. That's why they're picking on you at school. It's all ridiculous concepts. Along with the very concept that every night when we went to the kitchen table, you can't get up from the table until you eat all of your food. And the food that they would feed me was the wrong kind of food for my metabolism. I'm very sensitive to carbohydrates. And so my body blew up like a little balloon, a little fat, round balloon. And not until I read a book by a guy that was 400 pounds who lost 200 pounds and became Mr. Universe and had an incredible body after that. Not after I read what he said about just eating correctly is 75 to 80%, if not 90% of it. That even fitness and working out wasn't a very large percentage of losing weight. And if you think about it, I don't care if you think you have the slowest metabolism in the world, you think you're big boned, whatever you want to call yourself, your family's that way. If I put you in a camp and we didn't feed you for a year, you'd be skinny. It wouldn't take very long before you'd be losing all that weight. You got to be shoving a lot of stuff in your face, and the wrong stuff. Now, here's the point. I'm not getting down on fat people. I'm getting down on every kind of person, better stated, that won't look for the information that could change their lives. I look for that information. It changed my life. Within no time at all, I had lost all my fat, gained a lot of muscle, and I was a very successful high school athlete, very successful college athlete, went on to be a powerlifting champion, Olympic lifting champion, and a bodybuilding champion. And it's not a matter of the trophies that are sitting in my office right now. It has nothing to do with what I really got out of all that. What I got out of it was when I wanted to learn how to become financially free, I went and looked for the way rich people made money. In other words, I learned how to go find the right map. And if you had the right map, then all that effort you put out. Do you realize you work hard right now? You're just working hard at the things that don't work. Do you realize you're probably saving and trying to come up with a retirement strategy, but you're listening to people like this with strategies that don't work? Look, you're 100% successful at following the plan that takes you nowhere. Why don't you just change plans? You've already proven you're a good person. You can follow the plan. You've stuck to it for years. You can do it. You just need a better plan. 866-945-6565. We got one segment left. If you want to call in and chime in on this, go ahead. We'll be right back with the Del Walmsley Radio Show.
You're listening to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del will be right back with more life-changing principles in just a few minutes. Welcome back. Now here's some more unconventional wisdom to set you free from the man on a mission to retire America, one person at a time, Del Walmsley.
Welcome back to the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Today we've been covering retirement and retirement strategy that was put out there by a set of guys that called themselves scholars and experts and so forth, and we found that the concept was totally ludicrous. I'm going to follow this up with articles, or not articles, from emails from other people that have questions about their specific goals. But before we do that, we do have the phone lines open, and we have Derwin from Oakland. Derwin, how can we help you today?
Yes, I want to buy some rental property in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I have roughly maybe, let's say, $200,000 that I like to parlay into some real estate. I want to go either single family or maybe one small multiplex. Wanted to know if you could suggest how I go about doing that. I'll be doing that in the next 30 to 45 days, hopefully.
Have you ever done it before?
Well, I have rental property here in the Bay Area.
Do you?
So
okay.
I have a small building and my residence, which I'm planning on renting out when I get the other property. But I'll have one piece of property here in the Bay Area, and then I'll want to take the proceeds from a sale of an apartment building to buy property in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I'm looking at maybe a couple of rent houses, four rent houses, whatever I can get, or a small apartment building.
All right. Well, if you know what you're doing, you've got the skill set. Other than realizing the laws are different in Texas than they are in California, not radically, they're actually better for the landlord. So, you know, you'll be safer in Texas than you are in California. But if you know what you're doing, what you're going to need to do is do what we're actually one of two things. Let me put in a shameless plug. You can join up with us, and we'll help you find the properties and get you put into them and help you do the 1031. Mm-hmm. If you don't want to do that, that was my shameless plug. I hope you could see that. If you don't want to do that,
I've been listening to you for a long time. That's a good plug. I've been listening to your radio station for a long time, and I'd rather do this to make sure that I buy the right property and not buy some limits and then be in worse predicament than I am here. So I don't want to make any bad.
Well, you're welcome to come get with us. We work with people all over the country. We have a tremendous number of investors out of California now. I've spent 2 or 3 different visits in California just this year alone. Well, I'm sorry, last year. And we got more planned this year. So we got a lot of members out there. If you want to do that, that's fine. If you don't, here's a straight up answer. You're going to need to get yourself a broker to help you buy the properties in Dallas. And you're going to need to get yourself a different broker to buy houses. If you want to go after houses, you need a single family agent. If you want to go after apartments, you're going to have to get yourself an apartment broker.
Okay. All right.
And then
last
not going to be able to find it by
yourself. Related.
I'm sorry?
Now, the only thing I'm really not sure about, how can a single person get multiple properties at one time? How do you get, is it difficult to get the financing, or do you have to buy fewer units?
No, not at all. What happens, Derwin, is that I'm assuming you're talking about single-family houses, right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, on a single-family house, they look to your debt-to-income ratio. Now, here's the problem. If you're in a place like California where you don't have any cash flow from your property because it costs so much, that it's going to mess up your debt-to-income ratio. But in Texas, what happens is you're going to have a $500 a month positive cash flow on a very small amount of investment. And so what's going to happen is that you're going to actually improve your debt-to-income ratio. So each time you buy a house, you'll be financially stronger than you were the last time you bought a house. So you can continue to buy as many as you want. Now, Fannie Mae will only allow you 10 mortgages and in Fannie Mae loans. They'll only allow you to have 10 mortgages, and they won't lend you anymore. That doesn't mean you're done. You can still go to banks. There are investment banks out there that will lend to you all over the place.
Okay. Those are great suggestions. I look forward to coming down. I'm going to be moving down there, so I'll probably just join your group once I get there.
All right. Well, come see me. Come to a seminar. Let's spend some time together. We spend 2 days together, and you can pick my brain all you want.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you for your help.
All right, feel free to call in. The rest of you, feel free to call in anytime. I like questions. I know that I get off on tangents, and I tell a lot of stories, and people don't want me to stop the story, so they don't call in to interrupt. But go ahead and interrupt. We can get back to the stories in many situations. And if it's an imperative point in the story, I can always just work around it. Now, I've got a quick question here, and I don't make sure I've got enough time to do it. Guy asked me, he says, hey, man, I've been with you guys for a while. Had some incredible results so far. Now I've got a guy that wants to give me $2 million and he wants to invest with me, but he doesn't want to do multifamily. Can I do that with single family houses, and how do I do it? So the bottom line is I did this a ton of times. I had partnerships with people. So I'd get one rich guy and I put together an LLC and we'd go buy him 11 houses. I got another rich guy, we go bought him 10 houses. I got another rich guy, we put LLC together, we bought him 45 houses. I got another rich lady, we put her together, we bought her about 16 houses. That's all you do. You set up an LLC, you set up your agreement in the LLC of who will do what, how much money will get spent, by who, where, when, and how, and who runs it, who operates it, and then the distribution percentages. And if you do that, you've got the LLC for protection on both of your sets of personal assets in there. Now, the real question comes down to who's going to sign for the notes. That's where the sticky part was. In my deal, I was strong enough personally to sign for the notes in all of my partnerships. And my partners only had to put up money. So they really had nothing more at risk than the money they put up in the deal. Whereas some people get out there with this idea, hey, I'm going to go out and do this stuff, but they don't have the ability to get the loan. So now you got to go back to the guy who's putting up the money and taking the risk on the loan. And in that case, the guy doesn't really even need you. He can hire a management company to do all of it for him, and he doesn't really need you. So there's where the sticky part is on this question. And, if you've already been successful at Lifestyles, you should be able to stand for the loans, and you should be able to get this guy to be able to put his money in these LLCs and put these deals together. And you can put as many houses in one LLC as you like to do, whatever makes you feel like that's the best way to work with this thing. But remember, as we go into this stuff, it's not the money. It's really not the money. It's the lifestyle. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow.
The information and opinions you hear on the Del Walmsley radio show are those of the host, Del Walmsley, his guests, and his callers, and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of this station, its affiliates, its management, or advertisers. The Del Walmsley show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented on the Del Walmsley show constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.